Good day everyone. Today I would like to share my World of Warcraft classic journey with all of you. It all started thanks to a very good friend of mine, Dennis. He was the one that came to me and told me, "Yo dude, you heard about that re-release of World of Warcraft Classic?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm not playing to play a MMORPG." And then he said something like, "No way. I bet you would love playing that game. Fine, I will pay you the very first month so you can see if you will like it." And that's, my friends, is how I fell in love with this game and all the awesome people I met on the way. Sadly, I didn't take any screenshots while leveling together with Dennis, but I can still tell you a story or two. My very first character was a mage called Möbius. Why did I choose that name? Easy. I heard that a mage can use frost spells, and in my teens I was a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and one of my favorite cards back then was Möbius the Frost Monarch. So yeah, that's how I came up with that name. Dennis made a warrior called Isarak. Regarding his name, all I can tell you is that it's a reference to a river. He already had a huge head start when I joined the game. I think he was something like level 45 or close to that, and already in a guild. So we started grinding levels, gear, dungeons, doing lots of questing, simply enjoying the World of Warcraft. After roughly 2 months of laughter, pain, tears of joy and sadness, I finally reached level 60. And the funny part is, even before Dennis reached 60. Reason for that is because he literally babysitted me at the very start with his high-level character. He explained everything clearly, told me which add-ons to install, and I can say that, looking back, if I didn't have Dennis as a support, I don't think I would have struggled all the way to 60 alone. So I would like to give Dennis a huge shout out. Thanks mate, you've been the one that made me an addict, and I'm an happy addict. But those of you that know World of Warcraft know that the real game only just begins at level 60. Raids, dungeons, gear farming and twinking. The very first raid I joined was when I was still level 59, and it was from a guild called Memento. A guild that Dennis was already part of. During leveling I joined a different guild called Deja Vu, because I met a really funny and kind group while leveling from 48 to like 56, and they asked me if I would have liked to join, and I did. However, Deja Vu sadly didn't have enough members to create their own raids, so I tried to connect the leaders of Deja Vu and Memento to combine the raids, but sadly it didn't work out. Those that know me know that I'm one hella loyal dude, which was the reason I would never leave Deja Vu on my own. So a couple months passed and I kept raiding with Memento. Getting to know everyone and being helped left and right was amazing. They were the people that made me fall in love with this game. Some weeks after the failed combination of Deja Vu and Memento, the guild leaders told me that they would quit Deja Vu and join a different guild. That was the point at which I asked if it would be alright to go to Memento, and they were all supportive of that idea, since I was already raiding with them and Dennis was already a part of it. So with one sad and one happy face, I quit Deja Vu and joined Memento. The guild I'm still a part of in Wrath the Lich King and will ever be. At this point, a huge shout out to all of Inventorians out there. Love you all. I still remember the very first raid with Memento back when I was still level 59, and even though I was a complete noob and not even part of the guild at that point, I still got, I think it was the Mage tier set helmet, and they even gave me the healing enchant that drops in there. You can't believe how absolutely baffled I was when they just gave me like it was nothing, and I felt so welcome during my first raid. It was really, really nice. As soon as I hit level 60, I realized just how important gold making was to buy consumables, craft gear and other stuff, so I got really interested in how to make gold. I literally spent so much time watching videos, trying various farms, so let me tell you a bit more how I made literally tons of gold with my friends. There were 3 of us that were farming in a group most of the time. Dennis, Ben and me. Ben, aka this guy, was literally the guy that made the Black Lotus Mafia together with me. More on that later. We farmed the Eye of Shadow at the bottom of Winterspring. It drops from the demons there, but take care it doesn't drop from the docks. However, the dogs share the same spawn points as the other demons. So at one point you will have to kill them too to get the mobs to spawn that drop the Eye of Shadow. Anyhow, that thing would go for roughly 250 to 350 gold on our server, and we had a pretty good time farming there. Since you can also combine it with arcane crystal farming, since there are 2 large thorium veins down there most of the time, and the reason that I was selling for so well was because it was needed to get Benediction, the literal best in slot item for priests, for a long time. I think I only replaced it back in Nax then. So yeah, we would usually go there with 3 people because that way we could have Dennis as a tank, Ben as the heal, and me as the damage dealer. So it was a really decent group setup. The second farming spot we literally spent days on was in Silithus. Back then, Black Lotus had only a couple fixed spawn locations, and we even had routes dividing the map into 2 circles, so we could cover the map in 4 to 5 minutes each lap. I remember that we were fighting some Chinese farmer that literally told Ben back then that it was his job and he had a daily quota he had to fill before he was able to go home. Obviously, we were competing with him as hard as we could. He was a hunter, so he could spam Eagle Eye all the time and check the map a lot faster than we could. So we pressured Dennis into leveling a hunter so he could be our eyes while we were running the laps. If he discovered the Lotus somewhere, he would tell us the location, and I can tell you that every single time I was so thrilled until I finally had it in my inventory. This thrill is beyond anything I felt before, especially if you failed to pick up 2 times before and you see another player running close to you. I hope anyone can feel the way that I felt back then. It was simply amazing. At one point, we had around 200 Black Lotus, which we slowly dumped into the market so we didn't crash the prices. Some were also crafted into flasks to increase our profit and to split the items that we were selling. However, as some of you know, Black Lotus had a respawn timer. So the meantime, we spent farming Essence of Air, which sold for around 15 gold each back then. Good thing is that on the top left of Silithus, there are lots of air elementals which drop that. We did it like this. We run in circles till we manage to pick up the Lotus. Then we set a timer and go essence farming. After the timer runs out, we repeat going in circles and over. It was one hell of a time, and I had lots of fun trying out various farms. We also tried farming the Maraudon Dagger, like 40 or 50 runs, but gave up afterwards. Like, it didn't drop at all, sadly. But yeah. During that time, I started leveling my first twink, Raziel, a priest. One reason for that was Ben. He was also playing a healing priest, and I wanted to be able to help heal if a heal is needed. So I asked him what heal class I should play, and he told me to go for priest, so I did. And I can say I never regretted choosing holy priest even until the Wrath of the Lich King. Currently, since we have dual spec, now I swap between shadow and holy, whichever is needed. My current main is my priest as well, so I really like playing the priest. I raided all phases with Memento and we cleared everything at ease. Obviously, the longer I played the game, the better I became, and I wanted to try getting better and better, getting better passes, clearing the raid better, playing the mechanics better, and so on. There were lots of in-game events that were organized by the guild. For example, a Halloween transmog event with a Mage Battle RP event beforehand and another scary storytelling campfire together. All concluded with a huge fireworks show at the end. And I remember back then during Christmas holidays when we were standing outside of Ironforge with like 15 people trying to do the mount animation of the reindeer all at once. It was wild. And yeah. And the winter RP event, which was so amazingly roleplayed by everyone. They spent so much time and love in it. It was really amazing. And yeah, then the final raid of Classic was released, and the world buff meta was at its peak. Stormwind was literally lagging like shit during the Dragon Slayer buff dropping. Then off to the Sulgurib Island, grabbing that buff too, and then to Diamol and the Flower, and more. Yeah, it was really ridiculous at one point. And I remember during the very first time we entered Naxxramas, I remember someone saying, guess what? That other guild, I can't remember the name sadly, wiped on the first trash pack and lost all their world buffs. Ha ha ha. Yeah, right. And at that point, we all lost. Little did we know what was going to happen in a couple minutes. Spider Wing. Hunter pulls the first pack. Second pack gets added due to socializing. We get completely overwhelmed. Wipe and lose our world buffs. Literally everyone. It was, yeah. Pretty good, I guess. Naxxramas was in general the hardest raid in Classic, and at that point I could see why. If you pull just a single group too much, it's a wipe. And that's just how punishing Naxxramas was at the beginning, when you didn't have that much great gear yet. At the beginning, Patchwork was a literal wall, and you could hardly beat it without world buffs. Sapphiron's AoE Frost Aura would literally shred you if you didn't have enough Frost Resistant at the beginning. Maxner could literally nuke your tank in the enrage. Loethab was a timing boss, which one mistiming could cost you your life. The rotating each 3 stacks of the 4 horsemen was pretty manageable, but yeah, you should keep watch at your stacks. But we did it, and we did it because of the awesome pre-work guild and raid leaders and officers did before. They spent so much time organizing each raid so that everyone knows what you should do and where they should stand. They discussed different methods and tactics, and for that I would like to once again say thank you so much for all the work that you have done. We were pretty lucky regarding RTS part drops, so we managed to create 2 RTS during the Classic time. One for our guildmaster and one for the Mage Superior Officer who spent so much time and love in his guild. They deserved it the most. The final RP event was almost 2 hours of RP, planned thoroughly until the smallest detail, and it was so much fun. I hope you had similar experiences with your guild. Well, that was my Classic journey. How did you like it? Thanks for watching, and see you next time.